Sometimes when you cover sensitive topics, you end up with people claiming that you've gone too far, and they try and find ways to shut you down. My next guest is editor-in-chief at LifeSite the world's largest pro-life news website, and they're currently facing legal action over coverage of teachers in the Peel School Board. John Henry Weston joins me now from his home office. John Henry, I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to get one of these letters. So what did you guys do that was so outrageous that you're being threatened with a lawsuit by a school board?
Well, LifeSite News, as you know, is we do investigative journalism. And so there was a conference going on, an LGBT conference, where teachers were going to be participating. And so we sent one of our reporters, Peter Beklinski, over to participate. And he paid the $150 fee to attend and went with recording equipment so that he could report accurately on what was said. A couple of the teachers there.
My understanding is he spoke to them ahead of time, said he was coming.
Oh, absolutely.
And they knew who he was.
They did too. And in fact, the organizer called as soon as he registered to say he was glad we were coming and happy to give us quotes. So that's great. We were happy to go, and we want to report accurately. And so we did do video audio recording so that we'd be able to report exactly what went on. And I think that was the problem. Part of what went on were people involved with the board, teachers in fact, presented themselves as lesbians and described how they actually go about teaching children as young as grade 4 about same-sex marriage and about LGBT rights and homosexuality, basically, and how they inculcate this into their math lessons and other lessons.
Hold on, that was the shocking part to me, is that this is in a math class, but the teacher spoke openly about it being a social justice math issue. I've read a lot about social justice math. It seems like a way for people to work in their pet issues into math class.
Absolutely. So in fact, they were very explicit. And that's what was great about this conference. They were so explicit in revealing how they were doing this. One of the things is the teacher worked in triangles and looking at the different angles in isosceles triangles and so on. And of course, she used pink triangles to bring in the LGBT issue. In fact, it was neat because the teachers said specifically that parents' complaints could be ignored. And here's how to, quote unquote, hide what you're doing from concerned parents by putting in these lessons into math and talking about all sorts of isms so that they don't know you're focusing mainly on, LGBT rights, same-sex marriage, etc.
Okay, so now you're paraphrasing there, but in the original story, you not only have a direct quote, you've got audio as well.
Absolutely so. And okay. Their messages are right on the money in terms of them wanting to hide the information. And in fact, one of the teachers, one of the principals, let me just get the actual, the Helen Mystery is her name. She's the instructional coordinator for equity and inclusive education at the Peel District School Board. And she said, equity is not an add-on. It is the foundation of everything. And this is in response to, parents wanting to pull their kids out of a day where they're going to be promoting same-sex marriage. And these teachers are there at this meeting laughing about parents' concerns that way, saying, you can withdraw them from a day, but this sort of agenda is injected into the whole of education.
Okay, you and your website are specifically aimed at a Christian audience, specifically beyond that a Catholic audience, but there's going to be parents who are beyond those two groups who are saying, well, wait a minute, I'm not sure that I want that in my math class, and yet here the teachers are talking about how to hide it. That's disturbing to me, and when you exposed it, the response of the board is, and you guys exposed this, back in April?
Yes, these were in April.
So in April, and now in mid-June, you've got a cease and desist letter saying, if you don't take this stuff down, we're going to take you to court and sue you. So they're going to use, school board is essentially a state organization. They're going to use the power of the state, the wealth of the state, because they have deep pockets, to try and shut down an independent media outlet.
Yeah. And this is the thing. We're actually non-denominational. We do make no bones about the fact that myself as co-founder and Steve Jelsovac are both Roman Catholics. We're also overtly pro-life, pro-family, but we're open to and provide information for all people of goodwill, those who want to know the truth. And we're big on getting to the truth. And in this instance, we provided just that, the inside story of what these teachers are saying and doing that they're admitting to behind closed doors. And for the school board to then come to us to say, remove this material as if it were, and they even said overtly that it was hateful. How is this hateful? These are their own words. This is what they did, and we're presenting it. If they think it's hateful, then there's something wrong with what they're doing.
Are they implying that maybe they're getting hateful comments, or that people are reacting inappropriately to what you've reported on?
I imagine parents, when they see the words and they hear the statements of these teachers who are saying that despite parents' wishes, they're going to give them this agenda, even against parents' wishes, and sort of laughing in the background that they're doing this. I think parents are going to be pretty ticked. I would be, if I knew these were my teachers.
I don't want any of the isms being taught in math class other than maybe mathism. Can you teach mathism in class? Just teach math. But I have watched as social justice math has become such a huge thing that everything from, as you've reported on, LGBT to we need a specific minimum wage, we need to work on global warming, we need to work on this, and they all always come from very left-wing agenda with the social justice math, and it has nothing actually to do with teaching children the basics of mathematics. It should be beaten out of the system by the school boards. Instead, they're picking on you.
Yeah. It seems that these teachers have an agenda to put forward their own particular ideologies into the kids and have their education of the children in math or history or whatever subject they should be learning to use that as a vehicle to get their ideology stamped into the children. And there's just an absolute abuse of the educational system. Moreover, the parents who are looking at this and dealing with it and having to, adjust their children from having this so-called education, it's really a pain for them because they're being presented as if they were backward, as if they were hated, hateful and bigoted, where in fact they're coming at it for the most part, maybe from a religious perspective, but also maybe just from a perspective that this behavior, this sexual behavior, is not the best for your bodies. And so we'd rather you did something else. The time-tested, healthy sexual behavior between one man and one woman for life.
And so this comes at a time when Ontario is and this is an Ontario school board that you've exposed, but you guys have exposed school boards across the country for stepping beyond where they should be. This comes at a time when Ontario is looking at a very radical sex ed curriculum that a lot of parents have complained about, and the province is saying, no, doesn't matter what your concerns are, we're going to go ahead. And here's my thought. Even if parents are able to push back a bit on the sex ed curriculum, it sounds like it's going to be worked into math or history or what have you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I think this is a grave danger of an ideologically driven group of teachers and a premier who is actually encouraging that. We know that Premier Wynne is a lesbian, married, et cetera, but she's actually forcing her ideology with her, the power of being premier. And this is really, something that parents need to stand up for. And I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing around the province, even around the country, parents starting to stand up because while they might be willing to take, liberal politics here and there and everywhere, when it comes to their children and their own rights of being able to form their children in the religious, the moral, and even the healthcare concerns that they have as parents, knowing what's best for their children, and they know that's going to be interfered with in schools, they're going to stand up and not take that anymore.
Do you think that enough parents will stand up? One of my frustrations with the sex ed curriculum is despite 5 years heads up that this was coming, a lot of parents are still either ill-informed or don't know or simply don't care.
And that's the thing. Besides yourselves and some of the alternative media like LifeSite News, this is not always breaking into the mainstream. There are demonstrations going on all around the province at almost every single riding office for the MPPs, but that information is not getting out there. So where, you have 5 Liberals protesting something at a meeting somewhere and immediately the mainstream media is all over it, this issue is being hidden. And so parents need to learn about it more, and God willing, they need to hear more from the Rebel, LifeSite News, and other alternative media sources.
All right. So what are you doing with this lawsuit? Are you going to cave? Are you going to take the information down? What's happening?
We are absolutely convinced that we have done the right thing, have done absolutely nothing wrong. We have brought to parents good information, truthful information, with the audio recorded proof. And so we're sticking to our guns. Everything that we've said is factual, and we invite a challenge like this because we know it's based on absolutely nothing, and we're absolutely going to stand up for truth and hope we get supported along the way for doing that.
All right. Well, John Henry Weston, keep us abreast of what's happening there. Drop me a note whenever you can, and in the meantime, I'll put links to the stories up at my Facebook page, facebook.com/Brian Lilley. Check it out for yourself. See if you think this is some kind of hateful comment by reporting what people said, and have your say. And if your kids are in this school board, maybe have your say with the school board.
Thank you, Brian. God bless you.
Thank you.